We're back out on the river unit today. We've had some interesting developments in the last 24 hours. Last night, back behind me here up this old dry creek bed, Danny and I sat in observation stand, and we saw a very mature buck stand up out of his bed right before dark. He's bedded up on one of these coves with a doe. He came out and we got some footage of him. It's a very unique deer that I've never seen before. We were devising a plan to come in here tonight and kill him, and I got to looking at the deer's rack in a little more detail, and I realized that it's actually a buck that a friend of mine has been hunting in here for a couple years, Scott Buckley. He's got his sheds from, I believe, last season, and a bunch of trail camera pictures of him this year already and last year. He's actually got an early muzzleloader tag, and he's been hunting them up on this ridge back here behind us. But I never knew which location that he was hunting. When he sent me the pictures earlier this year, he just said that he had a big buck on camera. I didn't ask where, and by happenstance, we just found this buck down here last night while doing that observation set. So I called him yesterday evening, I told him what we saw, and he sort of filled me in on what his plans were, and I told him where I was going, and tonight we are both going to be hunting the same deer. But because of that communication between the two of us, I think we're both going to be in a decent spot to kill him. The deer's bedded up in this little willow cove off of the main creek bed, and we got the same wind today as we had yesterday, so I'm hoping he's going to be bedded back there again. Scott's going to get on the west side of him with a muzzleloader, and Sean and I are going to try to slide in real close to his bedding area with the bow. If he comes out east, he'll be close enough for us to get a shot. If he goes west, then Scott might get a crack at him. So kind of a neat situation here. We're gonna get the muddy stands together though and go up in here. It's about 3:15 right now. We need to try to be set up before 5, so better get the stands on and head that way. I can see Scott walking across out there to that point where he's gonna sit. This spot isn't gonna make sense for us to hang tree stands in. I just come around the corner and I can see clear down into those willows. If we try walking along this edge, we're just gonna bump those deer right out of the beds. So we're gonna go back, drop the stands, see if we can get set up on the ground. This little ditch that Sean and I are walking down intersects this willow cove down here at the bottom. The wind is going to be kind of funny. I'm hoping that because we're down low in this ditch that our scent don't try to swirl out of it. Might be wishful thinking, but pretty sure that deer's bedded right up here at the end of this ditch. So if we can stay down in it, even if we're making a little bit of noise, I don't think he'll boogie. We're going to try to get within 50, 60 yards of him. It's warm today. I don't think he's going to move too far during daylight. We had a pretty fun sit. Ended up not setting the stands up where I wanted to. We started walking in there, and it was just too open along the edge of that riverbed there. I was afraid those deer would see us from that bedding area, so we went clear around, ended up setting up on the ground down a little ditch, and about halfway through the hunt, probably 6 o'clock or just a hair before, Sean looked up and saw a deer behind us. It was a doe. She looked behind her, and then all of a sudden this great big buck came in there chasing her. They walked by us at about 30 yards, but it was back behind us where we couldn't get much footage of them. So that was it for the night though. Right at dark we heard some deer moving around in the bedding area down below us, but for some reason throughout the hunt there was a doe down by the riverbed blowing at something. And last night when Danny and I were observing over here, there was a doe in there blowing as well. That big boy got up on his feet last night and moved despite all that, but tonight we didn't see him. So, and I never heard Scott shoot over there. So it doesn't look like either one of us was filling a tag on the drop tine buck tonight, but it was fun to give it a try and get the axe back in there, and also do some light scouting. That'd be a great spot for the rut, and a lot of good buck sign in there. We're on these deer just about every time we've been out in the last couple of weeks on public. Almost every sit we've been seeing a shooter buck, and I hope that our luck continues here going into to the rut. I expect things to really start heating up in the next week, and I've got some great spots to go, so look forward to more action here on the Public Land Video Blog.